Hey guys!
Hi!
Let's do... we'll need to see the actual... Wait, and then pop out, right?
Always a hassle.
Okay. So, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are here with Gabby. She's actually coming and joining me right now. And a special guest, Trisha. So we are going to be talking about... I have my desk jacket off. We're going to be talking about Scythe. Hi! So, do we want to go around and say what we rated Scythe?
Yeah, do you want to go first?
I am still a little bit undecided. I think I'm in the 3 range for Scythe.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.
I gave it a 3.5, but I feel like that was really generous. It should have been a 2.5 or a 3.
Ouch. So, the big elephant in the room. Okay, so she gave it a 3 too. Oh, this is cool. That I don't even have to have that.
Oh.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Awesome.
So, because we're not like pairing with someone else, that the chat room's a little different, which is fun. So, the big controversy thing is that everybody on BookTube seems to love this, and we are again in the minority, just like Night Circus.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah.
So I didn't hate it. I think I hated it the least out of everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't hate it. I just thought a lot of things could have been done differently, and I think they also rushed it. Like, I don't know when it came out, but just like the printings, like I saw a lot of mistakes in it. Like printing mistakes. Like there's
grammatical errors.
Yeah, there's that, and there's like literally a comma in between a word, and I was like, what? There's a comma in between you, and I was like,
I was so jaded reading it, I couldn't even like catch that.
I'm like wondering if I want to change my rating to like a 2.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, but you never give anything a 2.
It's not that bad.
I really didn't like it.
Oh, it's not that bad.
Okay, maybe 3. Oh, no,
okay.
I'll stick with the 3. I'll stick with the 3.
Bored. Yeah.
Yes. So that was my biggest complaint too, is that the first like chunk of the book, it could have been summed up real fast, and it would have made the flow so much better.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Especially considering like with it going slower for like that big chunk, like you felt like you should have gotten a lot more depth to the characters or a lot more of a substantial relationship that was complex. I didn't get it. Nothing.
Yes. Speaking of that, can we just say like insta love? I'm sorry. Okay, so you know when we were
almost
reading, okay, so when we were reading, I got to the very end and like Hannah was still finishing, and I was just like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, she totally did that.
So basically we have the entire like book where like Rowan and Citra, like, we think there might be something going on romantically, but there hasn't been. And then at the very end, it's like, I love you. Same here. I was like, what?
Yeah, no.
What?
Like, we barely see any interaction between them. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to kill you. Like, I would rather sacrifice myself. And it's like, what?
Yeah. I love you. Same here. Now get lost.
Like, I didn't even think they were friends.
Right? Like, they see hardly any interaction in it.
Sorry, we're trying to read.
She said, I do not believe in the relationship at all. I just see them as friends.
Yeah.
I barely see them as friends. I see them as, like, acquaintances. Like, they see each other in passing. It's not like, we don't really see any scenes too much with them.
Right. And, like, I'm not saying that, like, their relationship wasn't plausible. Like, it's completely plausible. I just kind of wish that they had omitted that I love you. Because, like, you can have acquaintances and not want to, you know, I can understand why they don't want to kill each other, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I can totally get that. So she saved his life, but they didn't have to add in, like, that I love you romance aspect to it.
No.
That could, yeah, they could have just left it at that. Like,
which also would
she,
have
like,
been
spared him, and she was like, okay, go.
yes, and it would have been so cool because like how many YA fantasies do we get where there's like no romance? Like it would have been amazing, no romance.
Yeah.
And like, I think if they would have left it as it is and just had him leave, it would have been so much better because then you could have built that up and like have them reflect on their feelings for each other while they're apart and pull that into the next book instead of being like, we got to throw romance in here because it's a teen book type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like literally, it is the last exact page. Like, she basically tells him, okay, go. He says, I love you. She goes, same here, now leave. Like, very last page. I was like,
what does that add to the story?
It was also very like Han Solo.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yes, I was just gonna say Star Wars. Like, I
Yeah.
love you. I know. Which is like a great line in Star Wars.
Yeah.
But you can't copy it.
No.
Like, everybody knows that line.
No.
So, do you want to talk about one of your biggest complaints is that she saw a lot of the same things from other books and she thought it was copying a lot.
Yeah, well, not necessarily copying, but I couldn't get over like so many similarities from like different books. Like, I felt like Rowan's character was turning into like Selena from Throne of Glass, and then I was seeing so much like Hunger Games like references, and at one point they used the word reapers. I don't know if that's a common word, reapers, but they
I think it could be.
It could be. Okay, I wasn't sure, but I know the word reapers from Hunger Games.
Oh.
So
yeah.
like they use that word, and then like when the Scythes all show up at the conclave meetings, and like all of the everyone at the Capitol is like surrounding them, you know, and it like reminds me of like when the tributes show up and like President Snow and like all like and it's the Capitol. It's only like the Capitol population.
It was like the fanfare type
exactly.
thing. Okay.
And all I kept thinking was like, I literally just kept thinking Hunger Games. I couldn't get out of that mindset. Okay, someone else says, I agree.
I didn't connect with any of the characters. I had that problem too. Is that we didn't get we got their backstory, but we didn't get any emotional connection to any of the characters to really feel for them. And that's also why we didn't really feel the relationship, in my opinion, is because we didn't really care about them in general.
Right, absolutely.
I did like Scythe Curie, though. Like, she was my favorite character.
Yeah, I liked her too.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Do we want to talk about what we did like?
Scythe Curie.
Scythe Curie.
That's it. I
awesome.
really liked the premise. Like, I liked that we are questioning death and how if we took death out of the equation in our world, like for me, like I was taking it very like introspective, and like if you take death and you think about that with your own life, how that would affect so many other things in our world. I really like the premise. I just think that it could have been fine-tuned a lot more and it would have been done.
Yeah.
I like the moral dilemma that it leaves you with.
Yes.
That, like, how do you justify who lives and who dies? And how do you make sure that you're not being biased to, like, one type of group or another type of group? Like, how they had to stay within their parameters of their percentages for the different, different nationalities or, you know, what have you.
I liked that they were kept in check.
Yes. Yeah. Well, to a degree, which is where we got, like, Scythe. Goddard.
I didn't remember.
He was, the one, like, the bad one.
Yeah.
Like, the villain of the story.
But, like, the system was there to attempt to keep them in check. So at least they, like, had a system already planned out. And I like that we did get to see more diversity because, like, his, like, little ring of bandits there were all diverse, and they like made sure to recognize that they were all diverse, and he called that out. So I did appreciate that.
One thing that I also really enjoyed that I haven't really seen much of is, like, I don't think we've seen, so this is kind of futuristic a little bit, which is a little different. We don't see a lot of that. I mean, I don't think I've read much like
Utopia, you mean?
Yeah, Utopia, futuristic, where like the entire universe is on the same page. Like, not just America, but like I think at one point they're in Spain. Then she goes to the Amazon,
yeah.
and it's like they all have scythes. There is no government, and I haven't really seen anything like that. It's usually just like focused in like America or like wherever that like one country is. You don't see like the pretty much all of Earth being a utopia.
That's true. That's really cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about how people keep calling it a dystopian novel? Like, I didn't get.
Oh, I called it a dystopia.
I know, but like that's the way that it's like marketed as a dystopian novel. But I was reading it and I was like, I don't think dystopian is the right word for this.
I don't think so either, because it's they don't have death. They don't, like, that's what the whole point is that it's not a dystopian. It's there's that blissed out, like everybody figured it out type of thing, and they need this to like basically like overpopulate. Like they need something to keep the population in check because everything is okay. So I think utopia is the correct terminology for it.
Yeah. But does that fall into the category of like dystopian? Because like there is no such thing as a utopia.
What do you mean? It's like utopia is the opposite of dystopia.
Right. So that's why I'm wondering, like, what would you categorize this? Like, not dystopian, would you just categorize like fantasy or just like fiction, sci-fi?
Well, it's still a fantasy, but it's a utopia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you looking at the definition of utopia?
Yeah.
It says the system had so many loopholes. Yes, and we talked about that. So me and Gabby like actually read it like with each other here, and we were constantly talking about everything was so convenient, and we had major issues with that. Like the whole fire thing. That being what killed them. We're like, well, that was convenient. There just happens to be one thing there.
Like the second I read that, because we don't find out later on until one of the diary entries that like fire is the only thing that can, and space. They're like fire and like outside space is the only thing that can kill them. And I'm like, that's gonna be. I predicted it. I was like, oh, fire, something's gonna happen. Like someone's gonna die by fire, like obviously, because this is their loophole. This is the only thing. And that didn't make sense to me. Like, how can you like splat off a building, like you're like dismembered,
basically,
and you can get put back together, but fire, I don't know. I mean, I guess I understand it, like it kills the nanites.
Basically it's too hot. It's destroying like a almost
like you're pretty much
cellular,
you're like
level
you're pretty
thing.
much like burning everything. So I guess I could understand that, but I was like,
so then why wouldn't acid, like if you get acid thrown on you?
See, another loophole.
Interesting.
Yeah, everybody's agreeing it's convenient. Hi, Haley.
Hi, Haley. 2.5 stars seem to drag on.
Ouch.
Okay, so I'm glad everyone is kind of like with us on the ratings, but like so many people were like, this is a 5-star book.
So many. So it's either people love it or they're like, meh.
Yeah, and these are like people that I usually like have the same opinions with. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And like, I was just.
Really, I mean, for not even being in the mood for a dystopian, because that's what
like utopian.
I've been calling it. Like, I haven't been in the mood for something like that. I still like expected it to be like a 4-star book.
Yeah.
Like, even if I wasn't in the mood for it, like it would change my mind because people talk so highly about this. I was like, there's no way I'm going to go into it and not want to read it and come out like disliking it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with that, like, why do you guys have any theories about why people love it so much? Like, do you guys think that that's because it's bringing them back to the Hunger Games feel of why, like, that with people loving dystopians, or like why, if you break it up, if you actually look at it like from a well-written standpoint, it's not there. I mean, the world is developed. I'll give it that.
I disagree.
I
disagree.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's developed, but developed with very distinctive loopholes.
I mean,
to fit the story into it. Like,
there are too many plot holes.
Fair enough. There is a lot of loopholes to make it convenient.
I guess the world, though. Yes, the world, their system, the politics.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. Okay, the plot itself has plot holes, but the world. Okay, yes. The world is built. Yes.
So I think like the whole like Scythe system is thought out and is not that it would not without holes because I totally agree with you there. It definitely has loopholes.
Right, because we need a plot.
Yeah, and it's there's too many convenient factors, I think, is that he left open for himself. So I'll give you that. But like the character development is not there. It's not there at all. And like, I mean, with hardly any characters, and especially the main characters. Like, we don't know what motivates them besides them just not wanting to kill people, which that should be a standard besides God art. That's the standard, is people don't want to die. They don't want to be killed. So what does that make them special versus everybody else? Like, why did he choose these people?
Well, he says
because everybody would do that.
Because that he saw that there was that dilemma in them where they wouldn't want the job, and that's what makes a good scythe, is somebody who doesn't want to have to choose who lives and dies.
But I feel like as a normal human being, no one should want that job.
Right. And I mean, I get it's the whole, like, people in power shouldn't want to be in power because they'll do a better job. I get that, and that's, like, what it's getting at. But I think that's a lot of people. So it's like, why these people? It doesn't really make, like, you're special, you are made for this job. It's like anybody could have done that. Like,
it removes the chosen one trope.
It does, but it also is like, you're not that was just random.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, I could replace this character with any other character and it wouldn't change anything.
Very true.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I did get the definitions. For utopia is a society or community setting wherein the people experience the ideal and most perfect life possible. By contrast, dystopia highlights the complete opposite, which is a place of extremely unpleasant living and working conditions for most people. So this is a utopian book.
Yeah.
Not a dystopian. So, like,
literally everybody who keeps saying that's wrong.
Kind of sucks that, like, here on the booktube community we can't even we
don't know that. Yeah.
But granted, I've been calling it dystopian
I have
too.
too.
So like it's not just, other people.
Yeah. Haley just made a Hamilton reference.
So we've already talked about character development, the world building, the romance sucked.
Oh god.
So, like, what would you have changed differently about the book to make it better?
Oh.
I didn't
more
like
interaction between the two main characters. Absolutely. We needed more interaction between them.
And more politics. Like, we touched on it a little bit at the conclaves, but like if we would have been able to see those interworkings of how the whole system worked, I think it would have fleshed out so many other aspects of everything.
One of my big gripes, and we talked about this last night, was the diary entries. I get why they were there. I really do. But I feel like the last half of the book, the diary entries didn't add anything to my enjoyment of the reading. It didn't further develop the moral dilemma. It didn't further develop the world. It didn't do anything. Like, it was just there because I feel like in the first half of the book, we've now established, like, this is the way the book is going to be structured, so we're going to continue with it through the rest of the book. So for me, I feel like take out all of the unnecessary diary entries and intersperse them, not every other chapter, but maybe do 3 chapters and then a diary entry.
Yeah,
like
where it's impactful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What romance? More like insta love.
Too true.
Yes. 100%. Yep. Does anyone have anything that they want to talk about, like a question or?
I do think that, like, the diary entries is like that's where the author didn't think things through. I think I get the intention of why he originally was wanting to put it in it and to show that part of the job, but he didn't make it worthwhile for us to read. So I get where he was coming from, but he just didn't. He kind of forgot. I think he forgot about that aspect of it. It was like, well, I've been doing it for this long, I guess I got to make up diary entries.
I thought it was kind of a convenience because the reason that they tried to get Citra for Faraday's murder was because of a diary entry.
Oh, I didn't even connect that, but that's why it was probably in there.
I don't know. I feel like, oh, that's convenient.
Yeah. But I mean, you still didn't need that many diary entries to establish that. Like, I'm not kidding. The last, like, third of the book with those I skipped the diary entries.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care.
I read them, but like, yeah, they didn't.
You could skip them.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. There's only like a few. The beginning ones I think were important because that's where you learn about the fire, like through a diary entry that the fire kills. So I skimmed the diary entries.
Yeah. What do we think about Thunderhead? Like the whole system of Thunderhead.
That I liked. I like AI stuff though.
Mm-hmm.
I like the techie part of that. So I think it was really cool. And I liked how they tried to have like separation of like the Thunderhead and the Scythedom. Just like we have the separation of church and state. So I did like that a lot. But it was really convenient.
Again, yeah. It's like a little person telling you a secret, being like, oh yeah, now you can access me. Like I can tell you everything. Like what?
Yeah. It just, I don't know.
That very much feels like it's like, we gotta wrap this sucker up. How are we gonna tell her everything she needs to know at this point? And everything was rushed at the end versus it being interspersed.
Yeah.
It would have been really cool had the like chase where the Scythes, when they were coming after Citra, like as she was going from country to country in South America, like if that had like taken a longer period of time, I think that would have been really interesting. If that had been the second half of the book, like drag that out because that was heart pounding. I have in my notes, like I liked the last 80 pages.
Yeah.
I didn't like having to get
she's
there.
like on the run.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked the Thunderhead thing. I thought it was cool. I like the AI, but I kind of wish we would have gotten more of it. I was kind of hoping maybe like
we got very little.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping like, have y'all seen the movie Eagle Eye?
No, I've heard of it.
Okay, I think it has Jake Gyllenhaal in it. Basically, anyway, they've got like a super like an AI computer thing, and like it basically is able to access everything, and it like takes over. And I thought it would have been kind of cool if like Thunderhead would have like taken over like the Scythe. I don't know. I thought it would have been like cool, like a Scythe Thunderhead duel.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the premise of the second one because the second book is called Thunderhead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible. I mean, so I don't know.
Are you interested in reading the second book?
Nope.
Okay. I mean, I'll never say never, but I mean, I have so many other books I'd rather read. Yeah,
me too.
I feel so bad because like Trevor's in the middle of it right now, and he's like downstairs probably listening to us hate on this book.
Like I said, I didn't hate it. I just didn't like it. The first half took so long for not that much. Like we saw a lot of random killings for no reason that didn't give me that much. Like that could have been summed up in like 50 pages.
Yes, absolutely. And
it took 250 pages.
Yeah, it looked, so my thing is like, the first half of the book was so slow, and then the last half is like, let's throw everything in here. Like we find
pacing
out
was clearly off.
Everything. It's like, oh, by the way, spoilers, guys.
Obviously spoilers.
But we find out, oh, what is his name? Xenocrates. He has an illegitimate daughter.
Convenience. Convenience that they found them.
Yes.
Like, how did that, like, where was that backstory? Like, that would have been interesting.
Where did Goddard get his information?
Yes. Or, like, his hunt for
now.
her. Like, what? Why didn't we see that part? It's like the random
She's
killings.
Just there because he's trying to get him out of power. And it's like, oh, here, drown yourself or I'll kill your daughter. And it's like, oh, well, that's convenient. And then it's just, and then there was just one thing after another. Like, it was just like, and then after that, like, Citra's on the run. And then after that, like, there's the massacre with the kids. And then after that, like, there's the Winter Conclave. And it's like, all of that was, like, thrown into 200 pages. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah, we don't care for anybody who's gleaned. Like, that's the thing. Is like, we don't care because we're not invested because we don't know anything about it. It's just, like, random people on a plane. And it's like, well, why? I mean, sure, that's tragic. Like we see the world of a building, and that's how like the culture is almost. But it's like, well, I don't know who these people are. And like, I don't really care.
The Tyne people, the like religious group that has nothing to do with the Scythes, and like they're not Scythes aren't supposed to kill within their communities or whatever. Yes. I literally didn't care that they went in and into this compound and killed all these people.
Except that it was like kids.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but like the fact that like they were going into like a religious area, like I didn't care.
Yeah.
Because it was like a snippet, like it almost felt like an afterthought because of what we saw was so little that we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like that was like a bug on the windshield. Like that wasn't part of the story at all.
Yeah. And like there's like one quote in here that's like was really humorous to me, and I was like, why wasn't there other humor? It was like Madame Curie, Scythe Curie. She's like, oh, go glean yourself. That's really funny. But where was that humor before? Like
there really wasn't a lot of humor.
That was a really good. That was a good quote. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and I think it would have done a lot more to show us that the Scythes are really just like everyday people, and that they just have a special job, and that like they're human.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, we get to see Scythe,
Goddard?
Faraday, like going grocery shopping or whatever. Like we get to see little things like that, but I didn't feel like they were just normal people who had a special job.
No.
Right. Agreed.
So I'm like mixed feelings on that because it's like he was trying to instill like Scythe Faraday was like trying to instill like I don't want luxuries, like I want it to be like everyday thing, like I don't want to be a special like celebrity thing. But it's like we see that, but then we also see the other side of like them going to the conclave and making it a big deal about who their apprentice is and like all of the steps that it takes. And it's like, so are you special or you're not? Because you're treating yourself special, but then you're also punishing yourself so you're not special. It's like,
and this is where I came back to the Hunger Games, like District 1 and 2, like they want to be tributes, and then like the District like
8 or 13
11
or
are they 12? District 12. They don't like they think it's barbaric, you know, and like the other, I don't know. Maybe I'm far-fetched on that one.
No, I can see it. Like it's flip-flopping.
Like, yeah.
Except it's with one person.
Right. But I will say I do like the villain. I think like Goddard was a decent villain because like he was very bloodthirsty, which, you know, that's I guess realistic. And then he also had like he did kind of seem like a very tropey villain though.
Yeah.
Like the one who's trying to better the world in the wrong way and is like bloodthirsty. It's just very tropey villain.
I did like that we got to see like usually we see it the other way around where they start off morally gray and then you get to see like very clear lines of who's bad and who's good. This way, it was very backwards, and I kind of liked that it was something different, is that we very clearly in the beginning saw he's a terrible person, they're not, and then the more you got to know them, the more morally gray, for at least me, Goddard was, because we saw that it wasn't just he was bloodthirsty or he wanted power, it's he truly believed in why he was doing what he was doing, and it's like he was like, I was talking to Gabby about this when I was reading it, it was like, when he did the beating up Rowan scene and took away his pain sensors, and it's like, this is how things are. Like, you should know this. This is part of your culture, and like, you should know what people used to go through, type of thing. And I liked that there was substance behind his villainy. It wasn't just him being evil to be evil, and that's where he started being morally gray for me. And I felt more connected to him than Faraday, because Faraday, he was just good to be good. Not that that's bad, but we didn't see what was motivating him.
Yeah.
And I got to see a little bit more. I mean, obviously he's terrible. Like I didn't agree with his methods, but I like that we got to see like him fleshed out a little bit more as a villain. So that is what I really appreciated about that.
I agree. Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense, because for a while I was thinking that like he was really one-dimensional. Like you make a good point.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you do.
Because I was thinking that he was pretty one-dimensional because he just seemed like a psychopath who had a problem with the rules that were being placed upon him.
And he was using his title as a scythe to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just felt like psychopath.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
And that was it. But like what you say about like him being morally gray and like that, I get it. I see more of it now.
I forgot about the beating.
Mm-hmm.
I've forgotten about that.
And they it's like a big part of it that they instill is like they constantly bring it up. It wasn't like, I'm just gonna beat the shit out of you because I want to beat the shit out of you.
Right.
It's like they take care of him. They like spoon feed him in his bed when he's recovering from his injuries.
Right.
And they're like, well, we'll heal you so you can train, but you're still gonna have all your pain sensors, so you'll remember this. It's a lesson. It's not just because we want to be terrible people.
Yeah.
Correct. So someone just commented that if we're doing Vampire Academy next, yes, we are.
Yes.
We're doing Blood Promise. Sorry. Shadow Kiss and Blood Promise. So that'll probably be around like 7:15ish.
Yeah.
Between like 7:15ish.
We'll restart the thing. So
yeah.
you'll be able
There's gonna be like a new like. We'll say 7:15. 7:15?
Yeah.
Okay, since we started a little bit later. 7:15 we're gonna be doing Vampire Academy.
And doing like a complete new video.
We're gonna start a new video and it's gonna say like Vampire Academy read along live show. Okay, we'll see you soon.
Okay, do you guys have any other things that you want to address before? I've got like questions that I want to ask.
I do too. So yeah, does anyone have a question?
Or want to address anything else?
I just like we talked about how there were like too many loopholes in like the world, like, or in the plot, like about like the fire and the stuff like that.
Right.
Like, I think my biggest gripe was like the technology loopholes of like the weird like programming of the Thunderhead, so that when Citra tried to go in and find the videos of Faraday, like
I love that.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I love that.
It just felt like that it was programmed in such a way like that.
What was the purpose of it?
There was no purpose other than to create conflict and to create obstacles. Like that made me so angry.
Yeah,
and the cars. That also.
The cars, yeah. But I loved it just because like I thought it was a great analogy when she was like, because it's an AI, it's an artificial intelligence. So you're like, it's starting
synapses like
exactly.
The brain.
But I'm bio, like I'm nerdy like that. So I like that, but I can see where people had issues with it.
So I'm not against the whole thing, like it being like a brain. Like I totally thought that was cool. However, I agree.
It's convenient.
It's like, it doesn't make sense. Like the idea of Thunderhead had to start from somewhere and it had to be, this is how, like they had to have had a plan. They can't just build it and be like, well, we'll figure it out like whenever. Like they had to program this to make it work.
Oh my god, the amount of programming and time it probably made to create this thing. Like that's why I'm saying like I wish we would have seen more. Like I mean, has anyone read Illuminae? Y'all haven't read Illuminae, right?
No.
Okay. Well, there is like an AI in Illuminae, and it is just like so amazingly done. It's really good, and you get to see that kind of stuff. Like it's fleshed out really, really well, and it's just like, I mean, AI's is really complicated, and we didn't see any of that. But granted, it could be in the second book.
Yes, but like, so someone had to have built this, and they would have had to like know how to work it, and it's like, for it to work like synapses and know what like you do, no one knows how to work and figure out what they're actually looking for, doesn't make sense. Like you need, someone had to have known how to target things. Otherwise, these things are just like out in nowhere, and it's like it's like the internet.
Yeah,
like people know how to work the internet. Someone has to know how to work this.
But also with it being like an AI. I thought that it was learning and that it was evolving.
Yes,
like,
because you could
so you're telling me that it couldn't evolve to like have a better system for people to work
like
it?
Access and search it.
Yeah. So I thought that it would have just like have grown or something in order to be more intuitive, and it didn't.
I'm so thirsty. I'm sorry.
You can have some of my Sprite. That's fine.
Okay, I was like, I don't know. I'm so thirsty. Okay, you don't mind?
No, I don't care. Gabby's like trying to sneak behind the camera right now.
I'm so thirsty. I can't find my Sprite.
Haley says that Illuminae is amazing.
It's on my list.
Yeah. It's so good. The AI on there, like, and that AI does evolve. Like, it's good. It's good. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's good. It's really good. It's an AI done well, and that I think that's why. I think the problem is I read so many good books before this one that it just made it seem so mediocre.
It pales.
Yeah.
It's so mediocre compared to like because it has all these like. It's a great premise. Drop something. Your coffee.
You just like ducked out of screen there.
Like it has like a great premise and like you said, like the possibility, the plot, the premise is really
Yes.
interesting. But like I feel like
It
just
makes me sad that we're not going to get it more well done or better well done, whatever.
Yeah.
Because this is already like pushed out there.
Perfect. Yeah, correct. So you said you had a question?
So, would you run? Like, if you were in this world with your family being at stake, would you run if you were being gleaned?
Oh, hell yes.
You would still run? You'd be like, bye, Kevin.
Oh, no. He runs faster than me.
Okay, so you wouldn't run.
We would run.
Oh, you guys would run together.
Oh, we'd run together. Hell yeah.
Okay, that's a little different.
Oh, yeah. He runs faster than I do. So, yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that, like, if you didn't have family, like, what was the motivation for the people who are getting gleaned that didn't have family? Like, why would they care? Like, why wouldn't they try to go out swinging, you know?
I think
But
they
the
all
thing is,
did have
they all have family.
They all had family.
Everybody has family.
But you could also hate your family. Like,
That's true. I mean, we didn't get
Yeah.
to see that aspect of it.
no, and I think
really
that's very unrealistic. It's like,
I agree.
especially if everybody lives forever, you get real sick of some people's shit. And like,
I mean, because there are some people that don't like maybe their parents have already passed or because one thing that they said is like this hasn't been going on very long. It's been,
like
200
200 or 300 years.
Yeah, so there could be someone like what if like technology started and you were the last one of your family, you know, the very last, you know,
within 50, 70 years, like after like you were the last of your family, you didn't like get married and have kids again. Like
Well,
you
I
went
mean-
200 years alone.
I mean, it would have been an interesting character to see.
Yeah.
It would
I would say that
if I had a family, I would run. If I had no family, I would run.
Yeah, see?
I would say that for me, I like if I had family and I didn't want them to be affected by it, I would ask if there was a like I don't understand why they were killing people with all these different means of doing it. Like I would ask for like some sort of thing that would be like
Instantaneous. Yes.
Like
like
this
the
is
drowning one. Like that,
oh my god,
why?
that is like my biggest fear.
Why is that necessary?
That's not humane.
No.
Like, I'm sorry, this is a utopia, and the reason we glean is for population control. So there should be one way of doing
like,
it.
why can't you just go up and just get somebody with a syringe in the side of their neck?
Yeah.
And just like you're done.
Yeah.
Like,
But the
that's
pill, I liked the pill.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically just bite and that's it. Painless, nothing.
And I get like they were talking about like we want it to simulate of how people used to die, but why does that matter?
Yeah, if they want to simulate how people used to die, why did they overcome death?
Right? Exactly. Like, what you got away from that for a reason.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like, so you're gonna subject people to like burning alive, drowning, torture, like
and
oh my god.
Why wouldn't you allow somebody to write like a letter to like their family, like to say goodbye? Like, are you kidding? Like that's dumb.
You judging that makes this really We're gonna give people vertigo here.
Sorry, I'm like so sorry. I was propping like my feet up where the computer is. Sorry.
I don't know why they wouldn't leave a note. That's not
stupid.
A good reason.
That's stupid. Would you run?
I wouldn't be fast enough. To be completely, I wouldn't be fast enough, and then I would be like, at least if I run, I would still die, and my family would die. So I'd just be like, all right. I would maybe fight. I would think I would fight instead of run. So I would still be. I would resist gleaning, which would still not be good for my family. But at least I'd be like, I'm gonna leave the bruise or something for at least a day.
Yeah, and then once again, how is that humane? Like you're like, I don't know. It's just, I guess no one. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like that premise.
And I guess like the whole other ways to kill people makes the book more interesting because it's like it gives it that like shock value.
Yeah.
But it's like
I didn't like it.
Yeah. It wasn't a great part of the book. But I get it. Like that part makes sense why he put it in there. Like for the shock factor, for like the like what are they gonna do next type of thing.
Yeah.
And like very clear cut of like who's the villains, like person who's using a flamethrower or the person who's giving them a pill, you know, like clearly we can see who's the villain, you know? And especially with death being the whole premise of it, it's like it's hard. If we didn't have that distinction, it would be the lines would be a lot more blurred because everybody is dealing death.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you?
So what if you were Scythes? One, would you want to be a Scythe?
No.
Or would you rather be like, would you want to be a Scythe and let your family be saved and you would have to carry that burden of killing people? Or would you rather turn it down and constantly be in fear that you're going to die?
That's a hard question.
Do you think you could handle the job of the Scythe? I want to know in the comments too. Like, you guys answer too. You can tell when we all get a comment because we all lean forward.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Haley, so someone just commented that we were saying how the book made us think of, like, Hunger Games.
I can totally see The Giver.
She said it made her think about The Giver a bit. To save my family, I think I'd rather be a Scythe. I think I'd be a Scythe, too. And, like, I know you're not supposed to be biased, but I think I would do kind of what, like, Scythe Curry does and how she's, like, she doesn't do children.
And she has her own moral rules.
Exactly. I think I could see doing more of that. Like, those that have, like, turned back already by, like, 3 times. Like, okay, you're, like, over 300 years old or something. You know, maybe it's time. But I know you weren't supposed to. That's being biased. But I feel like that's the only way to, like, because, I mean, you can't glean someone who's, like, their first time. Well, actually, that actually brings me a question. Are Rowan and Citra, like, they're, like, their age, right? They've never turned back.
So. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, that's not fair. Why does someone get to basically have, like, get married multiple times, have kids and all these families and live for hundreds of years, and then someone who is 16 years old doesn't get to live?
What do you mean?
Like, because, like, they can glean someone who hasn't been turned back.
Oh, gotcha. Because then it's ageism. Like, they don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's not fair. They didn't get to live.
Yeah.
That goes to that whole, like, dilemma of whether or not, like, you could be killing somebody. Like, and I know they don't have, like, problems anymore with, like, disease or whatever. Like, they live in a utopia. But that goes to that dilemma, like, you didn't give this 16-year-old the opportunity to try to live, to see if they have any potential
to what they would bring into the world.
Society.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whereas this person who's, 250 years old, like, they just keep punching out kids and that's it.
Right. Exactly. And I you know what? That kind of brings me, I kind of am surprised that they didn't maybe bring, like, a population control factor in. Like, maybe, like, you can only have so many kids.
Yes.
Like, it just seemed, like, kind of stupid. Like, we're going to be gleaning, but there's no other population control. Like,
besides that factor.
Yeah. Like having, like, reproducing, like, every family's allowed maybe, like, 2 kids or something.
Yeah. Or, like, you can have a kid every so many years.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, you can have the kids, but you have to wait X amount of years. Exactly. Or, like, you can only have 2 kids within 40 years.
Exactly. That way everyone gets the chance, and that's even better, so everyone gets to live.
Yeah. I think the reason why they did that, though, is back to the referencing of how things used to be. So the fact that they killed them in different ways, and some are more vicious than others, they're referencing back to how life used to be. And it's the same thing with kids can get killed just as much as adults can in real life. So I think that's how they were, like, tying that part in. That's why I think that's like that.
I can see that.
Someone else said, no, I could not be a Scythe. I am so emotional. It would eat me up. So yeah. Like, that would be the hard part is, like, would you be able to emotionally handle it?
And, like, Volta couldn't.
Yeah.
Why he killed himself.
Yeah.
Or gleaned himself.
Yeah. I think I could
Compartmentalize.
compartmentalize.
Yeah,
That's a hard word. It's a hard word.
Yes, I think I could do that enough as long as like I gave myself like very like clear rules
Yes.
by which I would do my gleanings and like how I would take the lives. Like I wouldn't be able to like stab somebody the way that Scythe Curie did,
Yeah.
just like randomly on the street.
No.
Like and I feel like also like, how do you guys feel about Faraday? How he like researches the shit out of his like his victims beforehand. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that. Like, it would have to be like I would have to know nothing about them.
And I thought they weren't allowed to do that. I thought they weren't allowed to like use the Thunderhead. So that's where I saw a plot hole. Like, they're not supposed to use the Thunderhead. Like, they're completely separate. Like, Scythe cannot use the Thunderhead.
I thought they could, but the Thunderhead can't interfere in Scythe's business.
Work with them.
I think it's the both ways work together.
Does anybody remember whether like they're completely separate, or it's just that the Thunderhead can't interfere with the Scythes?
Have you been pronouncing it Scythe? Haley says she's been pronouncing Scythe wrong.
I can see it being Scythe.
I can see it being Scythe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I really thought that like I thought that they couldn't interact at all, which is why they got so mad at Citra for like going through and trying to figure out what happened to Faraday.
I thought it was because she was still an apprentice and she wasn't allowed to.
No, because she's an apprentice Scythe, so she's not supposed to with the Thunderhead.
But Scythe Curie has access to it. She was using Scythe Curie's access to do it.
Yeah,
Was
that's
she?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she brought it back to her place.
Oh.
They can't ask for help.
Yeah, so they can't access they can't communicate with the AI, but they can use the system.
They can just use like research.
Yeah.
Like just like okay. See, I wish that had been better explained.
Which is also like why when the Thunderhead contacts Citra, she says, I'm going to give this to you because it's a 100% probability that you were going to discover it on your own anyway.
Right.
So I can break that rule.
Yeah.
You're right. Correct. Okay.
See, I would want like I think I would be able to do it because I can compartmentalize my brain. I think like I would set the moral parameters like you were talking about. Like I would need that. Also, I would want to use the Thunderhead to like I know they talked about like crime isn't a thing anymore. Like they've done away with crime. How do they stop people like pedophiles and rapists though? Like get murderers
the
are not.
The nanites, they have emo nanites, and it like kills their emotions.
Yeah, it fixes the levels
your
in
thoughts.
your brain.
It's convenient. It's convenient.
Yeah, see, like I don't think that would stop people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
they mentioned about the emo nanites, and it like because at one point there's a scene where like one of them gets really angry, and then he says his emo nanites like literally it calms him down. Like he finds himself like he stops screaming. I can't remember who it was, but he calms down. He feels his emo nanites like telling him to stop.
It regulates your emotions and the
hormonal imbalances in your body.
Yeah. So like maybe it would like with urges.
Maybe.
But that's a good question.
But then it's like it's bordering on the question of is it all about the hormonal balances, or is it like something in people's brains to make them do these crimes? Like, is it something that people are working like just on urges, or do you think it is like what about the premeditation in it?
Right.
So like even if you don't have those urges, if you have premeditated this for over and over, like for 6 months they're thinking about molesting this one person.
Yeah. You
think that just changing those emotions and those hormones in your body is going to make you stop? You've already thought out this plan type of thing.
Right.
Or, I just...
Do you think that that the nanites like are connected to the Thunderhead, and like if the nanites are having to fix the chemical imbalances in your brain or like
No
something
idea.
like that so often that the Thunderhead the Thunderhead wouldn't interfere anyway, because then that's a Scythe business of trying to take a person's life.
Yeah, it is. Thunderhead doesn't glean.
I think we just we're going way too deep
Yeah,
into this. Like,
it's a good book
so
to
deep
get
that's
that,
like,
though.
Yeah, it is. It's very, there's a lot of like different morals.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Did you want to go over, I think we had all the points that I had mentioned.
I also want to talk about like, so someone made this great AI, right?
Mhm.
How has no one hacked this? You have 300 years, you're telling me no one's hacked this? Like, that's like the internet. Like, we have the internet. Not that I'm saying it's like the great AI, but I'm saying like that it's just like that, where it's collecting all of this data. It gets hacked all the time. How has no one figured this out or hacked it?
I know. The AI is severely underdeveloped.
Or the nanites. Like, you don't think people are, like, it depends. I guess we're going, again, I'm bringing things real deep here. Do you guys, like, people are inherently good or bad? Like, you don't think that people are going to be like, well, I really want to kill this person. I'm going to figure out a way to hack their nanites to kill them. Because that's what's keeping them alive. You don't think people have targeted that or tried to target that? Or do you think, like, there's, like, how has no one thought that? Like, to do that?
Yeah. I think just writing a utopia type of book, it just is so hard.
Well, yeah, because you literally have to think of everything.
Yeah. That's a really good point. I never even thought about that.
I just feel like that's very impractical. Like, it's improbable for people like who've lived that long, who can soak up that much knowledge, to not get to that point.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be someone who could hack.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's just like, it's not like they never really address the education. Like,
oh, you're going to love Illuminate.
And they don't address like education of people who have the unlimited time surpassing what they can do.
Yeah.
Like, it just talks about like them in high school and then it stops. You really think people have stopped learning or not being interested? Like, if I was living that long, like, I mean, that's like the reader part of me, like, I would want to learn several different things, and like I would continue to want to learn.
You'd want to go like, for like your master's and then a PhD.
It's just
and
like
you turn
I want to learn everything.
Go get another PhD.
Yeah, like Scythe Curry speaks 12 different languages.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, how has no one delved into AI or programming or, you know, like hacking?
Yeah. Especially since there are so many people now.
Right, and it's like, I don't think you could ever fully be rid of crime, and that's what this book presented, is that the crime was gone. And I don't think that's ever really, because especially if you have all of those means of opportunities, I don't think that would be ever possible.
Yeah.
And it wasn't shown in this book that it could be possible, because the opportunity of expanding knowledge of the life of with the AI, I mean, that's an unlimited source of data that's constantly collecting. Like, that for people to dive in. I just don't see that as like, there's way too many plot holes for me to understand how you're not dealing with the crime aspect of it. I think you need to, if you're going to do this type of book, you can deal with the whole, it not like death being defeated, but you're always going to have crime.
Yeah. To where you've like literally mastered everything. Like, they've mastered government, crime, everything.
Yeah.
And it's like,
so back to like my original point. Sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there, guys. My original point is, if I was a Scythe, I would be using the Thunderhead to find people who were the inherently bad seeds of the world.
Yeah.
To glean, because if I had to kill, like, I'd want to be the people who are working to get around the system so they could be bad.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Like, kind of like a vigilante.
Yeah. Well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to, like, get all the bad people. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've hit all my points.
I'm trying to think about all the other ones. I also had what would be the best way you would want to die? We kind of already touched on that, but I think we'd all want the pill.
The pill.
Yeah.
Yeah. What robes would you guys choose if you were Scythes?
Teal.
So like the turquoise one that she wants.
Mm-hmm. Or purple.
Probably like a plum.
Yeah.
Like a dark.
Like a wine color.
That book. The Bone Witch.
Oh, the Bone Witch.
Oh, see, I'd want one like your guys' shirts. I'd want like a wine color.
yeah.
Maroon.
Yeah.
This would be pretty.
That would
Or
really
maroon.
be pretty.
Yeah.
I think that's all. Oh, so this is just like a small thing because I'm sensitive to this. So on page 242, Scythe Rand
Oh, I actually marked that page.
it says constantly slapped Rowan's glutes. And I'm just thinking, if that were reversed, because I was constantly thinking if
Where's that?
let's see. Right here. Constantly slapped his glutes, threatening all sorts of lewd liaisons with him once he was of age. Even before this, I was constantly like switching if Rowan and citrus, whatever. I always said citrus because that's the word that I associated. But it was
Oranges.
Like, yeah, citra, right?
Yeah.
Citra.
If they would have switched, how things would have changed. And as soon as I read this, I was like, people would be hating this book if that was a girl. And that's so double standards. You can't have a guy be subjected to this and not call that bullshit out.
That's true. I totally missed that.
And I'm like, that's not okay. Like, guys can be sexually harassed just as girls, and that is definitely sexually harassment.
Yeah.
And it's just like slips on by and no one says anything about it.
A little, like I missed it. It's just like one little sentence. I totally missed it.
And I'm just like sensitive to like equality with especially like sexual assault with both genders.
Right.
Or like any gender, like, but it's like that just like irked me that I was like, I haven't heard anything about that anywhere. And I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah. No,
because that that wouldn't be pitched or wouldn't be passed if that was a girl getting done that.
Yeah.
Even if it was still a girl instructor doing that to a girl, that would still be called out, and it wasn't. Like I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, because it's a girl instructor doing it to a boy. Well, I mean, it could be boy.
Either way,
but because Rand is a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so like if we switched, it would have been
either way. It's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So that just like I wanted to like throw that out there.
Yeah.
Yes, sexual harassment goes both ways.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I totally missed that. Did you catch that?
I didn't.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm sure like a lot of people didn't, but like that, I just like read that and I was like, whoa, that's not okay.
Yeah. I totally missed that.
Do you guys have any other final thoughts on the book? We kind of like railed on it, but honestly, like it wasn't a bad book. And I like the discussion that it brings about.
Yeah.
Like it makes people think deeper about death and about like what is possible and
like morally.
Yes.
Like this book is just full of like
it makes you think. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like there's like really no good option. Like you said, would you be a Scythe and kill people to protect your family, or would you not be one and not? It's hard. It's a hard decision.
So I think I would still recommend the book. Just because it makes people think.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm going to leave it at a 3. I feel like I didn't like it. Okay, I didn't love it, but I didn't like hate it, but I didn't like it.
It could have been
but
more
I didn't dislike it.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like, it's so hard. The plot, like, if you looked at it kind of like if you just basically took out all the like words and you just told it to me as a story, like really quick. Okay, so we have 2 people, they become an apprentice, then this happens, I'd be like, oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah,
that is like a really cool, like a quick
idea.
If you gave me a quick synopsis of the book, I would be like, that's a really cool book.
Yeah.
But then like once you like, it's like all the extra fluff in it that I'm like, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm gonna leave it as a 3. Not to mention when books take me forever to finish and I'm like
it kills
dreading,
your enjoyment.
Oh my God. And it's like, if it's like I'd rather be reading something else than this book, then that automatically is kind of like
it knocks it down.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Like you should want to like read and just like soak it in.
So I get why it won the award because I think it's got the good premise, and I think,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it's worth a read just to make you think about things deeper.
Yep.
But I don't think it was well constructed
or executed.
Yeah.
It took me 8 days, yet it felt so much longer.
Yeah.
It took me 2 days, and I was just like, meh, every time I picked it up.
Yeah.
Because everyone was saying like, oh, you're gonna read it so fast, and it's true. Like I'd pick it up and I'd read like 80 pages in like an hour. Like this is probably one of the fastest books that like page wise.
Yeah.
How long it took me to read one page, but it was just like. But I think that's why it took me so long or like so quick because I was just like reading words. I wasn't like soaking in the story
Yeah.
as much. I was just like, okay, I just need to get
Yes.
through
Yep.
this.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
So that is all for our Scythe live show. Thank you all for joining. We should talk about our next month, right? I have no idea where the book went.
Okay, I have mine.
Oh, I didn't bring mine.
I don't even know. It's probably in my room.
Are we
Yes.
ready?
So the next book for June. Oh my God, it's June. No, it's May.
May.
That's why I was like, we're already in May. What? Yes. Yes. Sarah J. Maas, if you haven't caught up, get it now. It's very short.
Very short. And actually, like this part is
like a preview
for the next book. So it's not even that, so that's even shorter than that. It is 229 pages.
So we should be able to fly through this one.
Yeah.
So we will talk about this next month over on Gabby's channel. And we will be back with our Vampire Academy. We'll see you in a little bit.
Bye.